In this video, I'm going to show you how to do some visual updates to the Lectora interaction. In the last video, we talked about the tabs interaction, the tabs left, so I'm going to continue on that one. If you notice, let's pull that up inside of Lectora. I've already downloaded the project. I'm just going to go to my desktop, go into the tabs project, open that up. And let me just share with you a few things that you can do right here. If you go to the page background, and then you hover over the background page, you'll notice we have a solid shape right inside of the page background. If I come over to properties and then come to fill color, I can actually change the color of that object. Now coming back into that page interaction, you'll notice it completely changes the background. You may have to select a different page and then come back to that page, but it completely changes the background, the gradients, and everything of your interaction. So it's a simple, quick fix for your actual interaction, the background itself. However, you may need to change the buttons, the other background as well. If you wanted to come and select this content background, you can come up to the properties, change the outline. If you wanted to change the outline to a different color, you can come in and change the background to a different color as well. And you have a couple different options there. If you wanted to change the background and the color of the buttons, that's a little bit different because these buttons are a little bit more complex. They have reflections and gradients, which is something that you can't do inside of Lectora natively. So that's why we have these on the template library, the same place that you got the project, we have the tab button source. So if you download that, this will actually download the source files for each of those buttons. So if I click on those project or that folder, I can see the PNG files for the down state, for the over state, and for the up state. Now you can change these to or you can change the color with the source file where it says source.psd. And so I can open that up inside of Photoshop. I can change out whatever color I want. And as long as I save the different outputs to the same exact name, then I can just easily bring those inside of Lectora. So let's go ahead and open this up inside of Photoshop. And let's come over to Photoshop and just come to the layers section over on the bottom right hand side. And let me minimize this or expand this so I can see it a little bit better. And now I can come over and let's say I want to change the up color. I have a couple different ways inside of Photoshop here. So I need to make sure that my layer for up is shown. And then I just come in here and I can do a couple things. I can come in and come to the color overlay. And if I come to the color overlay, you'll notice the background changes. Or I can just come into my paint bucket. So I select the color that I want. Let's go ahead and just have a light blue here. And then I come into my paint bucket, and with this layer selected, I just go ahead and hit the paint bucket. It will only fill that one part of the section. So I come over to the overstate, select the overstate, and change whatever I want for the actual interaction here. So let me change that. I'll make sure that that's selected, that layer is selected, and there we go. So I need to come over and save these different states as the different buttons. So this one is the overstate. So let me go ahead and select this to be a PNG. And I'm going to select the over button here so it has the same exact name and click save and then replace. And that will replace the actual image. If I go to my folder, you'll notice my over button is now a different color. Well, I need to do the same thing with my up button. So I come over to my up button, click on file, save as, and this will save. Let's save it as a PNG. Let's save this as the up. So I'm going to select that up button so it has the same name, or I can type that out and then hit save, replace. And now let's take a look at that folder. Now I have my up and I have my over. Now you could completely make these PNGs in whatever way that you want. You don't even have to use the source files. But the key is if you wanted to replace these easily inside of Lectora to name them the same thing. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and go into Lectora. Now I don't even need to select a specific button that I want to replace. Something that's a lot quicker is if I come into the insert button and just click on image, if I was just going to insert just a normal image, then I would come up to that image that I want to insert, and as long as it's named the same thing, it's going to prompt me with if I want to rename this resource or replace this resource. And that's the up button, because right now the up button by default is set to yellow. And yes, I do. I'm going to click on replace. And now you'll notice every button, the up button, has now been replaced. And so this one I was just using to get that message. So now I can just go ahead and delete that. I don't need that anymore. And I do the same thing with my overstate. So go ahead and select my overstate, do the same thing, hit replace, and now my overstate, which is selected over on the left-hand side, I'm just going to delete that. And now if I hit preview, so let's go to view, and then let's preview this in the browser. You can see that when I hover over it, it now has the new color. When before I hover over it, it now has the blue color. So that's how you do some visual changes with the Lectora interactions inside of Lectora for the eLearning Brothers Lectora interaction templates.